This isn't just any motorhome. This was America's best-selling Class A motorhome for over a decade, the motorhome that made RVing mainstream in the country. Every RV park from Florida to Arizona was packed with these beasts from the mid-'80s to the late '90s. With its top-notch engineering and magnificent craftsmanship, this motorhome created a separate market segment in the industry. And then one day, it was gone, like it never existed. This is the story of the rise and fall of America's greatest motorhome.
Motorhome luxury.
In case you're still wondering, I am talking about none other than the Fleetwood Bounder, the motorhome that even giant companies like Airstream and Tiffin were afraid of. Starting at a price range of $40,000 to $50,000, which would be around $115,000 to $125,000 in 2025. After taking inflation into consideration, the Bounder got ahead of the game right from the start in terms of value for price. In 1985, when the first Bounder rolled off, the RV market was split into two extremes. On one side, you had basic camping trailers and entry-level RVs that were nothing but some boxes on wheels. On the other side, you had extremely luxurious and top-of-the-line motorhomes from Monaco and Airstream that cost more than some people's houses. Amidst this chaos, Fleetwood identified the huge market gap for mid-level motorhomes that offered you a touch of luxury, but without emptying all your pockets. And that's when the Bounder was introduced. But this wasn't just any other motorhome. This was a revolution. A new market segment that would completely change the RV industry forever. Fleetwood made some huge changes to the existing RV structure and brought out some innovative ideas that would inspire the industry forever. One of those big changes was the relocation of the water tank, which increased the interior space by up to 40%. You heard it right. I'll explain that in a bit. Right now, let's head to the front and see how fantastic the design of these motorhomes was. The early years' front design came with an extended nose that enhanced the aerodynamics and allowed smoother rides. As the years passed, Fleetwood shifted to a more streamlined and round-cornered design that looked elegant and classy. On top, you'd have a large windshield for absolute clear visibility that would be further supported by the headlamps on the side corners below and the smaller lights right above the glass. The Fleetwood Bounder wasn't the largest motorhome on the roads during its time. Its dimensions ranged from 30 to 35 feet in length and 8 feet in width, making it a comparatively smaller and compact option than those heavy, muscular motorhomes of the competitors. But when it came to space, both looked equal. Under that fiberglass nose sat serious power. The Ford 460 cubic inch V8 produced 245 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque, enough to pull a 15,000-pound motorhome up mountain passes without breaking a sweat. The alternative Chevrolet 454 Big Block delivered even more grunt with 290 horsepower. These weren't economy engines. These were truck power plants designed for heavy hauling and long-distance reliability. The chassis engineering was brilliant in its simplicity. While luxury brands experimented with custom frames and exotic suspensions, Fleetwood stuck with proven Ford E350 and E450 chassis that any mechanic could understand. Air conditioning problems in Phoenix? Any Ford dealer could fix it. Transmission issues in Montana? Every truck stop mechanic knew these systems inside and out. Moving to the sides, this is where Fleetwood actually won the competition all the way. Before the Fleetwood era, motorhome companies used to place the water tanks in the living room of the RVs that ate up a significant area of the room. Fleetwood said, "Not gonna happen." They came up with a revolutionary idea and placed the freshwater, gray water, and black water tanks under the floors, usually accessible through the storage compartments installed on the sides. Sounds pretty simple, right? It wasn't. It was an engineering marvel at that time. This relocation of the water tanks increased the interior space of the motorhome by up to 40%, without adding an extra inch to the vehicle. The 90s models of the Bounder usually had a 100-gallon fresh water tank, along with 50 gallons of gray and black water tanks, which allowed longer off-grid stays without depending on city connection. Something the nomads loved. Along with the relocated water tanks, The sides of the Bounder came with so many storage cabinets and compartments that allowed you to pack your luggage for a long trip without worrying about storage. The massive pass-through garage compartments could easily store anything from folding chairs and tables to bicycles and kayaks. The compartments housed an electrical water heater, the plumbing system, the electrical system, the furnace, and the generator, which were responsible for giving you the luxurious experience you'd expect from the Bounder. Speaking of the generator, all the Bounder models came with a standard 7.5 kilowatt Onan generator that would take care of the dual air conditioners, television, microwave, and the fridge simultaneously without making too much noise. On the passenger's side, there was an awning setup that came out to provide you with a lovely outdoor living area. The awnings in the 90s models were powered, so it all functioned with a simple press of a button. To enhance the mood even further, you had an exterior TV setup under the awning with high-quality speakers. The motorhome had shore power connections, water hookups, and sewer connections on its sides, which made sure you get a full-fledged living experience inside this beast on wheels. But here's what really set the Bounder apart: quality construction. The aluminum siding was properly sealed and backed with real insulation, not the foam boards competitors used. The roof was a seamless membrane designed to shed water for decades, not years. Door seals, window seals, slide-out seals. Everything was built to last in harsh climates from desert heat to winter freezes. In terms of power, many Fleetwood Bounders were equipped with solar panels as well. For instance, the 1991 Fleetwood Bounder came with an optional 350-watt solar panel setup that solved the energy crisis completely. But the magic wasn't on the exterior only. Inside the motorhome, it was an absolute amazement. Let's climb up the stairs and get inside the Fleetwood Bounder now. Stepping inside the 1996-99 Bounder, you'd instantly realize why this RV dominated the American roads and the RV market. This wasn't just survival transportation. This was pure luxury on wheels. The interior ensured a seamless flow of fresh air and natural light, courtesy of so many windows installed at suitable areas. Plus, all the windows came with privacy curtains so you wouldn't have to fight for your own space. Right in front of the main entry door, there was a huge change. No more bulky, ugly water tank compartments. Instead, you got a wonderful 3-seater sofa that offered space for more people and, of course, better aesthetics. If things weren't magnificent already, this sofa could convert into a double bed too. Moving ahead, the driver's cabin was equally amazing. 2 super comfortable chairs, a massive dashboard with instrument cluster and all the necessary controls. It had a big TV mounted right above the driver's chair so that people sitting on the sofa or in the lounge could easily watch it. Another area where Fleetwood nailed the game was storage. The motorhome was literally a huge storage room. But with all the luxuries and looks, there were multiple storage compartments installed on the sidewalls and beneath the sofas and chairs. Moving toward the back, you had the dinette. It was fantastic. With 2 big sofa chairs placed on both sides of an adjustable table, it had plenty of room for up to 4 people, whether they wanted to have dinner together or just play games and chill. The height of the table was adjustable, which allowed you to convert it into a coffee table or gaming table within a few minutes. But if you wanted to see the magic, just bring down the table to the height of the sofa cushions and put the upper cushions on top of it. There you go. Now you have a comfortable double bed that would be perfect for guests. Hidden storage cabinets beneath both the sofa chairs allowed you to store extra linens, board games, or whatever you wanted to keep hidden from others. The galley kitchen, which sat right opposite the dinette, dominated the front section, and this is where Fleetwood showed they understood their market perfectly. This wasn't like those temporary kitchens that were designed for those weekend warriors making hot dogs. These were full-fledged kitchens, designed specifically for full-timers and serious travelers who needed a real kitchen. The standard package included a 3-burner gas range with oven, massive double-door residential-style refrigerator, microwave convection combo, and enough counter space to actually cook meals for 6 people. Beneath the countertop, you had huge storage space, thanks to those storage compartments that allowed you to store all the kitchen items effortlessly. The bathroom was where most manufacturers cut corners, not Fleetwood. The Bounder featured a full-size residential toilet. None of that RV cassette nonsense that required special chemicals and constant emptying. The shower was actually big enough for normal-sized humans, with solid fiberglass construction and a real glass door. It also had residential faucets, a medicine cabinet with actual storage, a fan on the roof, and a window for ventilation and natural light, which gave it a more finished touch. But what if I told you this was still not all? The bedroom served as the icing on the cake. The 1996-99 Bounder models came with a significantly spacious bedroom layout that felt like an actual house bedroom. You had king-size beds or 2 single beds, perfect for a couple. It had huge storage cabinets, closets, cupboards, separate AC, and everything that you needed from your ideal bedroom. Looks like the perfect motorhome, doesn't it? During the 90s it was. To tell you how massively Fleetwood dominated the RV market from 1985 to 1999, let me tell you a stat. In 1997, Fleetwood produced over 15,000 Bounders. This was more than some entire RV companies built across all models. The closest to Fleetwood was Winnebago, which produced 8,000 units of their Adventurer model. But still, Fleetwood was way too ahead in the race. Almost every single dealer in the States had a Bounder to sell. By 1999, Fleetwood Bounder had surely become America's greatest motorhome of all time. But as they say, nothing is permanent in this world. And the same applied to Fleetwood too. Fleetwood's uncontested market dominance started to fall in 2001 when companies like Thor, Winnebago, Forest River started studying the Bounder formula and copying it too. Underfloor tanks, proven chassis, middle market positioning. All of a sudden, buyers had choices that looked suspiciously similar to Bounder, but $10,000 cheaper. And how Fleetwood responded was just disastrous. Instead of improving quality and adopting next-gen designs, they started cutting costs. The quality of the materials used in the motorhome fell drastically. Hard wood cabinets were replaced by laminated plastic boards. To make things even worse, Fleetwood started making expensive models of the Bounder, which competed directly with brands like Airstream and Monaco. A 2003 Bounder could easily cost you around $120,000 with all the upgrades. But this was a flop. A very big one. Buyers who wanted high-end RVs went with proven names. Buyers who wanted affordable RVs went with alternative options. Fleetwood Bounder? Stuck in the no man's land. And when things couldn't have been worse, it got worse. The people who once loved the Fleetwood Bounder and had contributed to its huge market domination from 1985 to 1999 were getting old. The new generation didn't want Bounder. They wanted something fresh, something new. Soon, Bounder was called the RV for retirees. The 2008 financial crisis delivered the killing blow. RV sales collapsed as gas prices spiked past $4 per gallon and credit markets froze. In November 2008, Fleetwood announced it was closing several factories across the United States. On March 10, 2009, the company filed for bankruptcy under Chapter 11 of the United States Code. The bankruptcy court approved the liquidation, and Fleetwood sold its RV division to a New York-based equity firm that moved operations to Decatur, Indiana. The new owners kept the Bounder name alive, but it was a hollow shell. The engineering expertise, manufacturing knowledge, and quality culture that made the original Bounder special was long gone. Today, you can still buy a Fleetwood Bounder, but it's built by different people, in different factories, with different priorities. The underfloor tank innovation that revolutionized the industry is now standard across all manufacturers. The proven chassis strategy has been copied by everyone. The middle market positioning is crowded with dozens of competitors. What once rose as America's RV king is now nothing but a forgotten name. But real RV fans still acknowledge and appreciate the legacy Fleetwood left in the RV industry. If Fleetwood were to regain their lost place in the RV market, what things should they target in their RVs? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you're interested in more vintage RVs, click on this video and I'll see you soon with another luxury motorhome.